This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hi, I'm Phil Leahy, along with my daughter Colleen, as always, and we'd like to welcome you to another episode of The Empty Chair, Exposing Addiction. Start off, again, as always, I'd like to thank the crew who make it possible for me and Colleen to continue doing this series of shows. And also, for those of you who have been watching or maybe just recently started watching our show, the last guest we had on, Jen Gillis, put us on YouTube. So if you'd like to catch some of our previous shows, you can go to YouTube and search for The Empty Chair Show. And it'll get you all caught up, tell people you know about it that don't live in Methuen. So we're trying to spread the awareness to not just Methuen, but beyond. And I guess this is going to be like our Christmas show. So we, Colleen decided we wanted to do something really positive. And what we do is we have what we like to call a success story, someone who's got some pretty long-term recovery. And I'll let Colleen introduce her.
Hi, again, my name's Colleen. I'm an addict in recovery, and I don't know, this show is just like, it's really important. Like, it's called The Empty Chair, and that's why we have the empty chair here. It's for the addict who didn't find their way into the rooms of recovery, you know, the addict who died of active addiction. And yeah, like a lot of bad things happen, like with this disease and with active addiction, but there's a lot of positive too. And for me personally, I like to try and focus on the positive things. And I love doing this show because it's like, it's getting awareness out there. It's exactly what it's called, exposing addiction. So, you know, people think that it's just like, you know, if they have this idea, the stigma attached to what an addict is and what we do, this is supposed to kind of like smash that whole stigma that we're bad people. We're not bad people, we're just sick people, and we're getting better every day. And another reason I like doing this show is because a lot of times I get to have people that are just really, really special to me, like in my life. You know, we walk this kind of spiritual journey together, and we get better together, and we help each other. And one of those people is Kat, and she's a really, really good friend of mine, and she has a lot of information. Like, she helps me out a lot, and you know, like anybody can get this as long as you put the work in. And Kat's somebody that definitely puts the work in. So this is our guest, Kat. And I guess we can just start out a little bit with maybe like some of your story, like when you started using, how old you were, and you know your journey back then.
Okay. Well, I grew up a normal kid, youngest of 11, good family. I had 7 brothers and 3 sisters, and a mother that's a saint. She showed me very good morals and how to work for a living, to, you know, give to people. I don't think there was a hungry kid on the street that my mother didn't like invite in the house, and all my friends came in and would clean out our fridge. But my mother never complained. She loved helping people. She was always the first one over somebody's house if somebody in the neighborhood died, with a platter of food. And so I grew up knowing how to live life. Somewhere along the line, I started feeling like I didn't belong in this world. I got a little confused, and I think that's normal for most people, to like trying to find their place, you know, preteen and teenage years. And it didn't help that like I was gay too, because that just added to the mixture and the stigma of how I was supposed to be, and I was a bad person, and my life wasn't right. So it kind of mixed it up in my head. So not knowing the normal preteen stuff, and then that added to it, it caused me to try to, I guess, escape from that, find a niche. Made you feel
like more alienated and different, and, you know, like out of touch with, like, you know, other kids or whatever, because you had, you know, like being gay and then, you know, being an addict too, which I'm sure you didn't know at the time. Right. You know, because we never know what we're signing up for way back then, you know.
Right. What I did was I started doing drugs to fit in somewhere.
How old were you, Kat?
I was 12.
Okay.
I
always ask that because it's amazing that 12, 13 is the norm.
Yeah. And my family knew nothing. My mother knew nothing. And it just, it started out just with friends. You know, doing a little bit here and there of what we call soft things, you know, a little drinking, a little smoking weed.
Yeah.
And I thought that was okay because it helped me to fit into a group of people, and I felt okay.
Right.
The problem was I started becoming reliant on that feeling and using that crutch. And it just got worse and worse as life challenges happened. Different life challenges. I lost my second father. I say that because my real father died when I was very young, but my father figure passed away, and I turned to the drugs to deal with that. And if I failed my permit the first time I took it, I took drugs to deal with that. Like simple things, like life things happened, and I just continued to use the crutch of drugs until they controlled me.
Right. So it went from, you know, the recreational use of, you know, what we call like the softer drugs or the gateway drugs like the pot and alcohol and even like cigarettes. And then somewhere along the line, it becomes more like a maintenance thing where like we have to, you know, do it every day just to feel normal. And that's even before the hard drugs come into play. Even like back then, we didn't like how we felt. We did something to change it and just kind of never really working on ourselves, you know what I mean? Like mentally, we stopped, you know, developing when we picked up like that first whatever it was, you know. So it's like we couldn't, you know, like grow and continue to, you know, like learn things or just change or like a normal person would. Like it all just kind of stopped there, and everything kind of revolves around using, you know. And the people we surround ourselves with are all associated with that. Because if, I don't know about you, but like if I was around friends who were using, then that was okay because they didn't judge me because they were doing the same thing. But if I was around kids that weren't using, well, why we're going to drink again tonight? We're going to do this? Okay, I'm going to go with these other ones now. You know, when do you feel like you kind of started to cross that line or move up with the drugs? Did it happen fast, or did it take a while?
I have no idea when I crossed that invisible line. I don't know if like I was accessible to it already, or if it was the drugs that changed my brain, or my, you know, I know it changed my perception of life, but at the time I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, it's reflection now that I'm older. It's reflection on what I was doing. Okay, well, this is what happened. I can see that, you know, hindsight's 20/20. I'm not sure. All I know is that one day I woke up and I was doing too much.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, you know, you covered one aspect. I always cover the family aspect, obviously. When your family found out that you were into it, because I remember when I found out with Colleen, when the family found when you were, you know, theoretically an addict, how'd they handle it? What'd they do? How'd they respond? So forth like that.
Oh. During periods of my life, I stopped using the softer things, and like you asked me when I crossed that line, it's probably when I got into a relationship that I shouldn't have gotten into because my perception was ruined from using and my self-esteem was low. So I think my mother and my family said, well, something's wrong with Kat. I don't know if they realized what it was, because at one time I was a very good student. I was working, I was doing everything, and then they noticed I started getting thinner, not taking care of myself as well. And I don't know if the denial part of it forced them to like look at the obvious difference. You know, the thing that changed in my life the most, which was the relationship. Oh, it must be that. And it took a little while before my family realized that something was really wrong with me.
Okay, now they realize it. You know, and I can say I can kind of compare with that because, yeah, with Colleen, you know, and when you say, I know if they were anything like we were, it was just a complete lack of awareness, how to deal with it and so forth. So now they know you're an addict, okay? How did they handle it? Did they try to fix you? Did they tell you to get out? Did they just say stop? All the crazy things parents are going to say. What approach did they take?
My mother at first she tried everything and anything to help me. She was lost She didn't know how to deal with it. So she took any suggestion that I gave her, and you know,
Been there.
you know, maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that, you know, and then it's just going to cost this amount of money.
This is a recording.
She really wanted to be there and help me, and
I know.
And throughout most of my active addiction, my mother was there for me. I know she backed off. She got angry. Eventually, she got angry, but she was always there, you know, always loving me. Eventually, like, I ended up going down a really dark path. I ended up going to jail, and at first she was like, call me every night, call me every night. She was very nervous I was in jail. By the end of my my addiction, when I started to think maybe this isn't right, she was leaving me, you know, saying, you know, just call me once a week and not bailing me out, and just, you know, she was just used to it, and she knew at that point that it's going to take me this long to be able to feel better. And
well, her backing away from you, all right, kind of, I don't know, telling you that you were pretty much on your own. Did that have an impact in you starting to think about recovery, or was it just something that was going to happen down the road anyway?
At the time, I never thought that I could get out of it. I thought, I'm going to die this way, and that's just the way it is.
Pretty much accepted it.
Pretty much accepted that I was going to settle for this life for the rest of my life. I didn't realize that there was a different way.
You know, all the guests we've had, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody come out and say that they were honest enough to say that I'm accepting the fact that I'm going to be an addict, I'm going to die an addict.
So it shows you how powerful like this disease is when we can get to those places like so low, and we're so consumed and controlled, and everything about us just a disease, like from head to toe, inside and out, and us just being like, okay, you know, like I'm in my disease's hands, whereas, you know, today, like we put ourselves in our higher power's hands, like whatever, you know, our God, Goddess, like whatever it is that keeps us clean. But the disease is so powerful, it has such a hold on us that we just don't see like any hope at all. Like you said, like you accepted that, well, you know, this is it. I could die today. I could die 10 years from now in jail, but and I'm okay with that. You know, like that shows you like how powerful this disease is. So you're in that place where you've pretty much like accepted that. Like fast forward a little bit to maybe like when you thought that maybe there could be like some hope, or there was some kind of a want in you to change, if there was one.
Set you off in the other direction.
I was sitting in a little corner cell. I was sitting in a little corner cell, and I smelled so bad because all the drugs were coming out of me, and I hadn't showered in so long. And no matter how many times I showered in the jail's shower, I just smelled so bad that the guards were like, just stay in there. Nobody wanted to share a smelly cell with a smelly girl. So
Nobody wanted to share a smell with you, huh?
No, nobody wanted to share my smell. And I found a book on recovery, and I looked at that, and I read it, and I said, wow, like, that's me. That's me. Like, I had resigned myself that I was an addict before, but like you said, I accepted, okay, that I used it for an excuse.
Right.
Well, you can't blame me, I'm an addict.
Yeah.
When I read that and saw the hope in that book, it gave a little spark. And then people came into another place I was in and spoke, and I was like, I saw the spark of life in them, and that attracted me. I wanted that. I really believed that they were clean and that they had been down the same path that I was. And I always tell this little story, like, there's a big hole in the ground, and this guy's walking by and it falls into the hole. And he's like, help me get out of here. And like a priest comes by and says, oh, I'll pray for you. He says, no, help me get out, but I'll pray for you. And he walks away, and the guy's still stuck in a hole. He says, help me, get out of here. Firefighter comes by and says, don't worry about it, I'll go get a ladder. Well, don't worry about it, I'll come get you. The guy's still stuck in the hole. And then another addict comes by. The guy says, help me. The guy jumps into the hole. He says, what are you doing? Now we're both stuck here. He says, I've already been to this hole. I'll show you the way out.
Wow.
Cool.
So that's the way I saw these people coming in. They've been where I were, and they're out of it now. and they had that spark of life, that bright spot
Yeah.
that I now possess.
Yeah, and it takes work to get there. But I know what you mean, like by that just that feeling of like like my parents, my family, they love me, more than anything, and they couldn't like help me, like an addict who and they've known me my whole life, but they can't help me as much as another addict that I've known for like like a half hour. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy because, like, we've walked in each other's shoes, like, different paths. We come from all walks of life around here, but, like, the feelings are the same, Like, it's all about, like, the feelings and stuff. Like, I know, what you've been through, what I've been through, and only we can, like help each other, like, on that level. Because it's like you said, like, here's people that, like, went through what you went through, and here they are clean and smiling and happy, and sometimes not even, because we go through a lot of stuff in recovery, too, and we don't get high over it. Like, what are some of the things that you've been through in the 3.5 years that were kind of a test for you?
I had just gotten my year. I had a year and a month. And my brother, who was an alcoholic, decided to drink again, and it killed him. Yep. It killed him. And that was tough. That was tough. He was a twin, so I was watching my twin brother grieve. I was watching my mother grieve. I was grieving. My whole family was grieving. I just didn't use. I leaned on other addicts and recovery, recovery and recovering addicts, and I got through it. I lost a couple of my good friends in recovery, all in the same year. I became homeless. my second year in recovery, trying to get my second year was very difficult. I became homeless. I didn't use. I kept not using, and sometimes it was just for the sheer fact that I'm not going to. I changed jobs, and then things started turning around. The more no matter how I felt, I didn't use, because someone said to me once, feelings are like clouds. You have a nice white puffy one over your head, you're all happy, and then later on a dark cloud comes over, and you're all sad and miserable. Guess what? That white fluffy cloud will come back again. It's just when the wind blows, you go through good times and bad times, and that's life.
And I think that's an important lesson. Addicts have to learn that, they're going to have the same ups and downs that everybody does. Everybody does it, and obviously everybody that has their downs can't pick up and start, So it's something, that an addict has to learn, that being clean is great, but you're still going to have those rough roads. Now, I know we were talking, you've been clean over 3 years now, okay? And obviously, we're thrilled as much as you are. Now, prior to those 3 years, I know a lot of people suffer with relapses. Did you hit those bumps too?
Yes. I have a very thick head. I could see things before me, but my brain said, well, I can get those without trying for them. Or maybe just one more time. Or maybe this isn't the right life for me. Maybe I want misery. Mm-hmm. It took me many, many years, too many years I wasted just trying to do it use the correct way. There's no way to use the correct way, not for an addict like me.
Controlled using, trying different things.
And again, we bring that up with everybody who's been here because we want people who are using and the families of addicts, we want them to know that it's not a quick fix, that it's work and it's not working for a year and then saying I'm all better. It's not the parents going like this. Oh, thank God that's over. I went through that. And I hate to bring up relapses for people who have been here, but I also know that was a very important part of your recovery process also, because it does happen to everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't have to, but it does.
It doesn't have to, but if it does, and you said it yourself, like when one of your sponsees, if you relapse, it's one thing. It's how you handle the relapse is, what you've learned over the years.
You got to pick yourself up and get back on it and just want it. So we'll switch it up to a more like positive thing now, because like we go back in, in time
I'm
and
sorry,
like
time's up.
using. I can't stand him.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. It's about honesty around here. So, since you've been clean, like, you went through some stuff and you didn't use over it. Like, what have you been able to accomplish and how you feel today? Like, what keeps you clean today? Like, what's going on with you today?
Okay. Well, when I first came into recovery this time, a little older, a little wiser, and a little bit more desperate to live the right way, my mother was paying for pretty much everything, which was very little, because I had no bills, I had no job, I had no apartment. I was wearing the same clothes like that I had like packed in a bag. I didn't have anything, and I didn't require anything because I had no responsibilities. I came into recovery, and the first thing I started to get back was a little glimmer of me, and you can't put a price tag on that at all. I feel like I belong now with my family,
Good.
with the people in recovery. And I actually have a job now. I could hold a job, and they depend on me. I went from just having a job I really disliked to looking for another one, and looking for another one, getting another one before I quit the one prior to that. That was a big deal.
I did that.
That was a huge deal.
You just scored major points with him.
It's responsibility. I learned a piece of responsibility, and it made me feel good. It made me feel proud that I was doing it the right way. I started working for a multi-million-dollar company. Not that I make that kind of money, but I went from just working in a call center, and I just got a promotion, and I was working at a temp agency. I got hired full-time. They sent out an email. The vice president of the company sent out an email, talking about the quality of my work and giving me props, pretty much.
Nice.
It was a whole company-wide. So that was that's pretty impressive. One, that I could hold down a job. Two, I make a paycheck. And now, like, I have a key to my own place. I have a vehicle. I passed my permit. And I got a car.
Just to let you know, when I first met Kat, her and Colleen were sharing an apartment because neither one of them had enough money to live on their own. And yeah, this one didn't have a car. She was even thinking of getting that old piece of blue car. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Thank God I did you a favor by letting you have that. But this is where I first met Kat. This is where I took such a liking to her, through Colleen, because they were good together.
Yeah.
And they've both gone their own ways because they are two really independent ladies right now.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
And that's the key, is the independence. I don't have to depend on anyone or anything for anything anymore.
Yeah.
I'm my own person. I'm responsible, and it's just, I have a lot of fun today. I have a lot of fun. I live across the street from a lake. I go swimming all the time. I go out camping. I love camping, and I don't have to live in a tent. I actually can, like, purchase a tent, go camping, then go home. I do a lot of fun things. I've traveled. The best thing, though, is just going over to my mom's house and playing a game of cribbage with her, not taking my time.
Well, and I'm so glad, that you bring up the fact that your relationship with your family has grown so much, as I know, obviously, yours and I have. We went from the point where we dreaded her coming over to calling up and say, when are you coming over? And I know, I don't know your mom, but I know I can speak for her. Your recovery is her recovery, and I'm sure that she must think it's just as big a gift, if not more so, than the gift that it is, so.
Yeah, and that outside stuff is nice, like having the car and the nice apartment with the nice view, and I got a car, like all that stuff that we have. But to be able to be okay with ourselves today and be able to have fun and laugh and just, I mean, we're behaving pretty good now. Normally we can't look at each other without laughing, and to honestly like love ourselves today. Because I don't know about you, but like when I was using, like I just wanted to die. I just wanted to die every day. Like that's what I prayed for. Like, God, just please take me out. And now to be like, sitting here like doing this show about, recovery with like, family and friends here and stuff, and trying to help other people. I didn't care about helping people when I was using. Now it's like that's what helps us now. That's what like keeps this thing going. And it's like it's crazy when you think about then and now and doing some work and like getting to that place is like it's a lot of gratitude, a lot.
And speaking of gratitude, now we're approaching the holiday season. Is that a good time for you or a bad time for you now?
It's wonderful to share it with my family. Oh. It really is. Like I said, I come from a huge family, and it's not like I'm just showing up in time to eat and run, or you know, or being really late. It's like I go there and my family sings. They do. It's like the Von Trapp family singers. Oh my God. They sing and they joke around. You know, when you grow up in a huge family, they're all characters.
Yeah.
They're just...
This time here, I'm not joking. We are just about running out of time. Before we leave, Kat, I'm so glad you came here. You're with this. You're one of the big factors that this show is all about. It's about showing that recovery is possible with the work. You help us spread an awareness of a disease that a lot of people don't want to call a disease. And I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, me too. Like, I love you to death. Like, thank God for the show. Thank God for the program. And just, there's no other way than to live clean. It's just the best. So thank you.
And at that, again, we'll thank our crew. Catch us on YouTube, The Empty Chair Show. All of us, obviously, this is kind of like our Christmas show. We won't be taping until after Christmas. So we wish everybody at home, the staff, crew, our guests, wish all a real happy holidays. My wife, Linda, we'll cover them all. And at that, you know, for myself and Colleen, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
See you next month.